Hi guys, this is a continuation video in relation to questions you're likely to be asked if you're going for an interview as an early childhood educator. So now let's continue. So another question you could be asked is, struggle early childhood educator face daily? Yes, they might ask you to state some of the struggles that early childhood educator face daily. So here you're talking about struggle with paperwork. Like I said in my last video, you're going to be writing lots of report. So this has to do with paperwork as well. You're writing when the children arrive, when they go home, you're writing the activity, you have report for each child. So it could be a struggle as well. And at the same time, you have to give the attention to the children. So it's like balancing. Where do you fit in? Okay, you're doing your daily report, and then you have to give the children the attention as well. This was a key findings in my undergraduate studies. Many years back, when I did an undergraduate studies in relation to routines in relation to the area of early childhood education. So some of the educators told me about struggles with daily report and at the same time giving the children their attention. So this educator, they're only with the children for 3 hours daily, 9 to 12. So within that 3 hours, they have to write report. They have to give the children their attention. So they spoke about they have to divide themselves. They're writing reports individually for each child. They're recording when each child arrives into the setting, when they go home, the activities they engage in, their behavior, and all of this has to be done within that 3 hours. Same 3 hours, they have to give the children their attention. So can you now see that this is a struggle? So, and I'm sure this is a struggle that most educators face. Struggle with writing daily report. At the same time, you want to deal with the children. At the same time, a parent comes to complain. You're listening to the parent. So can you see that it's a lot? Can you see that this could be a struggle childhood educator face daily? Another struggle could be behavioral issues. Yes, it could be issues with challenging behavior. For instance, we have a child with additional needs in your early childhood classroom. You have a child that bites, that kick. So this could be a daily struggle as well in relation to how you're going to deal with this behavior. What are the things that you're going to do? So as an early childhood educator, it could be a struggle for you. You have a child that presented a challenging behavior in your early childhood classroom. You're like, how do you go about this behavior? How do you deal with this behavior? This could be a struggle that you could be alight as well when you're being asked the question of struggle that educators face daily. Another struggle could be dealing with the parents. Yes, I've seen people often say things in the past that some parents are difficult to deal with, and you don't have a choice. You have to deal with them. This is your role. The UN Convention has stated that parents are the primary caregiver of their young children. They need to have the say in matters that concerns their children. So you could be dealing with parents. You could have some parents that they are difficult to deal with, and you're like, no, I don't want to deal with this parent again. It's challenging. So this could be a light as well when you're being asked the questions of struggle that educators face. So in relation to answering these questions about struggle that educators face, so just talk about general struggle. Maybe, for instance, you're moving from one preschool setting to another. You've applied for this job, working in a preschool before. So you could talk about maybe the struggle you faced and how you deal with this struggle. For instance, maybe it could be you have a parent that was difficult to deal with. And how did you go about dealing with this parent? It could be something such as you're just listening to the parent. When they come to you with their complaints, you're listening to them, you're not ignoring them. So you're stating the fact, stating that yes, it's a struggle, but at the same time, this is how you've dealt with it. Question you could be asked is, how would you include diversity in your early childhood classroom? As you know, in the 21st century, diversity is key. So you're going to be asked the question of how would diversity in your early childhood classroom? So in relation to including diversity in your early childhood classroom, talk about how you're going to include diversity through the materials, through the resources, through the room layout, through giving the children your undivided attention. So these are just some of the ways you could include diversity in your early childhood classroom. You could talk about in relation to coloring, you're going to introduce different colors that represent different backgrounds. You're going to read stories about different backgrounds, different nationality, stories about children with additional needs. You have enough space for the children. For instance, if you have a child on wheelchair, you're going to ensure that the child has enough space in the room to move around. So these are just some of the ways that you could introduce. You're listening to the children, they ask you questions, you're paying total attention to them. So these are just some of the ways that you could include diversity in your early childhood classroom. So you're using real life experiences. For instance, if you've worked in a previous job as well as an early childhood educator, so you could state some of the ways that you include diversity in your early childhood classroom. And lastly, another question you could be asked is, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Yes, employers, you have to know where you see yourself in the next 5 years. You're not just going to come to them saying, yes, I see myself working here for the next 10 years. They want to know that you're being ambitious. So you could tell them that maybe, for instance, you don't have a degree in early childhood. So you could say, okay, within the next 5 years, you see yourself getting your degree in early childhood. For instance, let's say you have your degree in early childhood. You could say things such as, you see yourself in the next 5 years having your master's. So they want to know the plans that you have for the future, that you're not just there to count numbers. So you could say, in the next 5 years, I see myself as a preschool manager. I see myself as owning my own preschool. So, they want to know that you're ambitious, that you have a lot in your table that you plan for the next 5 years. This is a question that they want to sometimes ask, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Or where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? So talk about your plans. And you need to understand that they are just plans. It doesn't have to be something that is definite, but it's just something that you've been thinking about. For instance, maybe you have your degree, you're thinking about, yes, you're definitely going to go and get your master's. And so it's something that you planned. So tell them, this is like a showing off. So you're letting them know that you've plans already for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years. This is where you see yourself as being a preschool manager, as owning your own preschool, as getting your master's, as the ways you could answer the questions of where do you see yourself in the next 5 years. So please do take note of these questions. Go through the questions. I know that preparing for a preschool teacher job interview can be daunting. I understand. I've been there myself. So that's why I thought to do this video, so that you can go through these questions that you're likely to be asked. And one thing I'm going to, if you're being successful, please do come to this. Please do that you're successful and we can rejoice with you. From my previous videos, I've seen people being successful, getting a job, and then they leave a comment that as a result of watching my video, they got the job. So I also want you to do the same as well. If as a result of watching this video, you went for the interview and you're being successful, please leave this in the comment below so that we can be able to celebrate with you. And do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Subscription is free. And until I come your way next time, stay safe and mind yourselves for now. Bye.